Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Live Your Spa Life show. Spa life is a lifestyle that accepts that accomplishment and harmony coexist. The Spa and Spa Life, the SPA, is for seek power always, that power within you to do your deeper work here in the world. I am so honored to have my next guest here on the show, Rose Sakuda, who is the founder and CEO of Dr. Rose Secret Place. She was born and raised in Rift Valley, Province of Kenya. Her mission is to advocate for female genital mutilation, also known as FGM, to educate the girl child. At the age of 13, she went through the FGM, and it didn't affect her until she gave birth to her first daughter. At first, she thought it was just a normal rite of passage, but seeing her daughter go through it, Rose immediately realized that it wasn't right. It was physically, emotionally, and mentally traumatizing. In 2002, Dr. Rose decided to start a foundation that would help raise awareness about what FGM is, the effects of the practice, and also to give voice to those who can't advocate for themselves. Dr. Rose, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, thank you for your bravery. This is a subject that, a lot of people shy away from. They don't want to talk with. It can be, very, very uncomfortable. I'd love to start with, what are the girls told growing up? Do they know that this is something coming? Do they know the extent of it? How is it presented in the culture?
Thank you so much for that question. When the girls are growing, they are told about it because it's something that was done initially in the tribe and in the culture. So when the girl becomes 11 years old or 10 years old, they start now preparing them for that.
So what type of things are they doing to prepare them? I mean, are they telling them like what's going to happen to them physically? Is there something emotionally that happens? Like how are they prepared?
They don't tell them what will happen to them, but they tell them that it will come a time that you'll be now a total woman, or you'll be going to another age set, not the young girl now, but to be a woman.
Mm-hmm. Now, does the do the mothers say anything more to their children? Was there anything that you said to your daughter as she was preparing for this?
When my daughter was growing up, and at that age, I was telling her, but I knew it was not good because I went through it. Mm-hmm. And that's how my first daughter escaped. I hid her first. So my first daughter didn't go through it, but the second daughter, because of the community and how she was inspired by the community, that she doesn't want to be like my first daughter, then she went through it when I was not home.
Wow. So the girls actually have a say in themselves that overrides what the mother may say?
Sometimes they don't, because they don't have a say, and the mom will not say much about it because the elders or the dads are also the ones who are taking care of that. So the girls don't have any say to say no or yes.
Right. And so there's been a lot of opposition of this over the years. In fact, in 2011, it was actually banned as a practice, but yet you said that it still happens today?
It's still happening today in the interior, in the villages where there is the remote areas where the advocacy is not yet there. It's still happening even today.
Wow. So what can people do, and what are you doing with in your foundation as far as helping people have more awareness of it? Because I'm sure that there's probably people listening to this today that probably thought that was something of a past or that it used to happen, but they don't maybe realize that it is still happening today.
With our foundation, we have some of our girls who went through it and some who didn't go through it, who are advocating it in the village, and they take care of the other girls, and they go, and now with the collaboration of some of the elders now, some of the older young men, they are now fighting it in the communities.
Great.
Yes.
Now, you had mentioned that you felt like it didn't affect you that much till you had your own daughter. Was that when you were giving birth, or just the realization of this may happen to your daughter? What happened when you were giving birth that came up for you?
I remember very well when I was giving birth, it was painful. And like you said, people don't talk about that. I talk about it because I know it. It was very painful. I even thought I would never give birth to another girl or another child. That was it. And then when she grew up, I knew, because some of the girls, I know one of the girls who died of the same thing, of female genital mutilation, when she was pushing and trying to give birth to her child. So I knew it's not something that is conducive. And also, if I can say this, I am a believer, and I have been reading my Bible. I have never seen anywhere where the Bible says that women should be circumcised.
Right. Yes. Well, there's actually a lot of things being brought up now, and even with male circumcision, right? And
Yes.
that these, when you look back to these traditions as what happened, it's there are a lot of health things that come up with children that can affect them. So I think that people are doing a lot more research to see, whether or not these practices for boys or girls are something that is healthy. Does anything come up in what you're doing that addresses with the boys, or are you completely focused on the girls?
For the female circumcision, we just focus on the girls, because for men, it's also allowed. And we know, like in the Bible, also, we know that Jesus and Abraham, all those were circumcised. So I don't go against that. But for the girls, it's painful, and there's nowhere. And like you asked me before, it's a cultural thing, and it's still happening even today. Yes.
Right. How long is, because it's different, a lot of times with boys, it happens like at birth, like, within the first week of the baby being born. Why is it being chosen to happen at this time for girls? Does it coincide with, their period, or is it, part of a ritual? Because, especially with them being older, then obviously they're more conscious of what's happening as well. Are they awake for this type of procedure?
Yeah, they are awake, and there is no sterilization. There is nothing to be used with that for them to be cut. It's painful, Diane. It's painful. Yeah. So there's nothing that is used which you can tell that it's safe for them. No, it's not safe for them, especially those in the interior places which I'm talking about now.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Well, I just so appreciate that, your willingness to share the story, because I know that, when we talk about, the path to do the things that we do, and there can be very disempowering things, you weren't embraced in this. In fact, you were, shunned by your community in this. Can you talk a little bit about that experience, and how you were either able to get other people to be supportive of it, and what was that like during that time when you were going with your heart and your daughter and other girls, and trying to save them that kind of pain?
At first, it was not easy, which is not even today easy, because I had to talk to them. And we used to meet under a tree, because some of the women that we prayed with and fasted with, because of what I myself went through, we went to some caves in the bush, and we were praying and fasting. And people were against me. I was not very liked by people. They didn't like me. And I was like an outcast. I remember those days, women didn't want to be accompanied with me. But thank God, there were some few people, or some few women from other villages who came, and they heard what I was doing, and they were supporting me. But I stayed like someone who didn't have anywhere to go. And I went through a lot. And they know, whoever is listening now, they know Sakuda, and they know that is very true, because some of them were supporting me, and some of them, even now, they always, when they see me and they see what we are doing with the girls, they appreciate that, because now they have seen. I remember there are some of the men who have gone to be with the Lord now. They were asking me, how did you come to do this? Why do you do this? And where did you learn this? And I was telling them, it's not safe for the girls. The girls are sick. We know one of the girls who died. And even when they are given away to get married, like the young ones who are given away to get married, they don't know whether they are girls or whether they are women, because already they are not mature enough to be given away to get married to these old men.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, when, you mentioned about when your daughter came of age, and this became for you, this is definitely outside of what you grew up with. What was it that had you decide this was for you? Like, this was your calling, that you needed to do something about it?
I had a calling in me. I had a burden because what I was going through in my life was not easy. So I felt that if I went through this and my daughter went through this, why can't I stop and also advocate and create the awareness to the other girls and to the other women? But I am happy today because I got some of the, like I said, some of the women from other tribes or other villages, and they came in and they helped me to advocate this and to talk about it, and also now to know that there is a way forward. Even when you are not circumcised, you can change your life, and this pain will not be with you. And you can also be a woman or a total woman, like they say, even though you didn't go through this.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So is there some form of like psychological counting that comes with this as well? You know, because I'm sure, you know, going through the pain that this is a trauma that people are experiencing, is there some things that have been helpful for the girls?
Yeah, today we have some support groups that they meet together, and like the safe houses, we have few safe houses, not exactly in our area, but we have one, and they come together and they are counseled by the older girls and the older women, and now that way they can relive or they can tell their stories and they can share with others, and that way they feel that they are complete and they can go forward with their lives.
Mm-hmm. When you were first starting out in the beginning, Rose, what were some of the pushbacks that people had? You know, when they were shunning you, was it because you were going against tradition, or they felt that you were being disrespectful to the culture, or, you know, was it just the unknown that they were afraid of? What was it?
First of all, they thought that I was against the culture because they have not seen that before. And because when the girls are circumcised, the women take firewood, they take water, they help everything in the village. But myself, I didn't go to those places. So they thought maybe I'm not respecting them. I'm not obeying what the culture does or the community or other women. Yeah, they thought that I'm just crazy woman coming up with things that are not even known in the community. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
So what do you think is different now as far as, we know that it was banned, but it's still happening. What percentage do you think is it still happening? Has it been by half or less, or, you know, what kind of inroads have happened?
Maybe we can say like now it's maybe, I don't know exactly. I didn't research that. I didn't see that. It's maybe 30 to 40%.
Okay. It's still pretty high, but it's
still
a
very
huge
high.
dent in what's happened.
Mhm.
Right. So let's talk about what have you achieved so far in your foundation?
This far, with what we have been doing, we have achieved a lot because most of the girls that we rescued or we talked about this with, they have gone to school, and we have some of them are nurses, some of them are teachers. We have some who have started their small businesses. And also, like now, we have musicians, like the artists. And if I can mention my own daughter, she's now here in America and she's doing good, even though she went all through all that trauma, and she is doing good. So we have achieved all that, and we praise God because He is continuing to help us to do this with friends like you and others.
Great. Oh, this is so good. So, if let's say, you know, somebody's listened to this and they've experienced this, and maybe there's some, you know, I don't know if is there residual pain even into adult? Is there like lasting things that happen after that?
The wound heals, yes, but still you still feel like, yes, you are not whole. You are not the whole being.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So for somebody listening to this who has perhaps had this happen to them, but maybe they've never shared it with anyone, because I'm sure that there's a lot of, you know, whether it's shame or uncomfortableness. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to do with the body that people don't feel comfortable talking to somebody else about. And so they may be alone in this experience that they're having. Do you find that people stay isolated in this experience, or, you know, if they're hearing this, how can they get some support?
Yeah, I hear most of them are even crying for help, like in the village, because we have those girls. Sometimes they'll come and ask the community, the girls that I'm working with, they'll help. They'll ask for help. So we try to counsel them, And when we counsel them, we talk to them so that the trauma would go, because we still know that psychologically and mentally and even emotionally, they are all like traumatized. They don't want to talk about it. They feel that there is a big shame. And especially those ones who go to school, they feel that they are not comfortable. They don't fit in that school because they know what went through them, through their bodies.
Right. And so what's a little bit of the history of it? Like what are you told as far as the purpose of doing that?
Yeah, what they say, it was like a traditional thing, and women should go through that. And like, part of Africa, it's not only in Kenya, by the way, it's part of Africa. They say that it's a traditional way, and you should go through that so that you can be, they don't want you to enjoy like sex and all that. And then even men, because they are listening to me, they will like, some of them want to marry to women to be circumcised so that they can get to marry maybe one or two wives. But those girls, when they are circumcised, they don't enjoy the sex part of it.
So the men want them to have it or not have it?
Most of them want them to have it, to be circumcised, yes.
Okay, so in essence, to control their sexuality.
Yes.
Okay, so the women who've had it, are they able to have orgasms?
Somehow.
Okay. So it's kind of iffy because you never know with how it's done and the body as far as how it can affect that. So, that is a woman's own expression of her sexuality, and even, even married with their husband, right? In terms of having those type of connections.
Yes.
Is there anyone doing any work in terms of any reconstruction or helping women to repair aspects of their body? Is that ever an option?
To repair, it can't be repaired, Diane. It's done. They cut everything, is done, so there's no repair.
Okay, got it. And so what do you find is most helpful for these women to move through their traumatic experiences?
What I see helpful is for them to get counsel and also at least to get some things to do, to feel that they are accepted, they are loved, and to be talked to by someone somewhere. Yeah.
Right. And what is some of the education in terms of, like, even though they may have had a traumatic experience, they still were, indoctrinated in their culture of that this is just how it is. How are they changing how they are now teaching things to their own children? How are those cultural changes actually happening?
The cultural changes are happening by now the therapy that they get from other nice people who come in, and also education is playing a big part in this, because when girls go to school, then they learn that this is not something that is conducive in their lives, and then they learn about now development, about other things. So when they go to school, then things changes, because I have seen now, like the ones we have been sponsoring and going to school, when they come back, they have that say, they have that knowledge of going in the village and talking to the others and even showing them the difference between now the circumcision or whatever is happening today. Yes.
Right. So is traditionally the women, the girls would not be educated? Is going to school something new for them, or do they stop at a certain age? So where's the education come in?
The education comes in because before women were like, when they are circumcised, they were given away to get married when they are 11 years, 12 years. So when now they are rescued and they go to school and they get the proper education, that way now they can be able to come back to the community and also with their dads and their moms and see them. They also they can help themselves also, and they can be something in the community. And we have so many professors, and like I said, those who are doing their little businesses, even though they didn't go through the circumcision, or they went through it and we rescued them, they are doing nice things now in the community. Right. And they can also choose their own husbands.
Oh, great. So, so traditionally it would be that in between the age of 11, 12, when the girls would get circumcised, they would then immediately get married. So when they got married, then their focus was on their family and having children, and they stopped school at that point.
They stopped school. Yes.
Okay. So with them not having this happen and being able to continue their education, are they able to go to school within their community, or do they need to go outside of the community where there's other cultural values to get that education?
They go to other schools, other different places where they can get this the real support from other schools in the other different schools from their communities.
Right. And you had mentioned that that when by the time they're 18, they're in essence safe from it. So that if they've not been circumcised at that point, that they've either had their education or they don't have to go through that. Are you finding, what's the percentage of the girls that are actually coming back to their community to as educated women to be able to then start families, to start changing the culture? Are a lot of them coming back, or when they leave, they stay gone?
No, most of them come back. Let's say 50 or 60% they come back. And if I can use myself, like now I'm here in America, but I always go to Kenya once a year, and I go and visit the girls and I see them. And now the community now accepts me, and they know that. I know most of them are listening to me, and they know, and they believe that education is the key, and the change, if you don't change, then the change will change you. So they accept that when the girls are educated, they can change the community, not by bad things, but with the good things.
Right, right, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like the more you know, then you can make more informed decisions and see, what kind of life you actually want to live. I mean, they're still children at 11 and 12, and to not know that there's another option,
Yes.
I can see how they kind of get into that cycle of not knowing better, right?
Yes.
Right. So in the community that you grew up in, and you said that a lot of them are being rescued and they're getting educated and coming back. How many of are there many of the girls in the community that they're in your own community? Are they still getting circumcised?
In my own community, a few of them are still going through that. This is last December during COVID. Some of them went through that a lot, because especially now last year when the schools were closed and there was the lockdown and all that happened, most of them, they couldn't go because, in fact, some of our girls went home. So when they went home, some of them were circumcised, and I was called and I was told that this is happening, but what are we going to do, because the schools are closed and we can't take them to school. And most of those, even like the percentage of the Kenyan, and the statistic is saying that most of them became pregnant and they didn't go back to school anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes.
So once they had that happen, they were almost trapped back into that old way of being.
Yes.
Got it. So are things starting to open back up that the girls can leave again?
Yeah, the school is open now and they are going back. They have gone back to school.
Got it.
Yes.
Wow. It's so much, to just to be, I don't know, immersed right in that, because we like to think that people have the best interests, right? And I'm sure that, traditions are very sometimes slow to change, right? To be able to see how you can do that. And you've made such a big impact in that. And it can be such a heavy subject. What are some of the things that you do to kind of for your own self-care, to kind of build yourself up to have the resolve and the strength to be able to continue with this work?
What I do, I also get involved in support groups where I can share my experiences with others. And also I pray and fasting also. And also I have therapy. I get into therapy, and the people that I come close to, they have always been good help to me.
Right. It's so important to have a support system around you and somebody
Yes.
that you can talk to and have that. And, the environments that we create, the home and the security that we feel, make a big difference. And so one of the things I always like to ask my guests is that we feel differently in our kitchen or our bedroom or our family room. What is your favorite room in your home and why?
My favorite room in my place is my bedroom. I have a little corner where I have my little computer and laptop, and I have that, and I read my Bible, and I read other books to encourage myself and to seek for more knowledge, because I know there are so many books written by other pioneers and other heroes. So I read those books in my little place in my bedroom.
I love that. I think it's so important to have these personal sanctuaries where, we feel filled up, and you are definitely a pioneer in helping these women. And it's such a blessing for you. How is it that you are being, let's expand a little bit more on how you're being a force for good in the world.
The force for good in the world is that I have raising the awareness about FGM and how it affects both women and girls, and also providing education opportunities to the girls and to the young females, and also providing economic relief by selling their handcraft, like the beaded necklaces that I have, and farming and developing clean water supplies in our communities.
It's so beautiful. You have had such a ripple effect and impact on so many girls, and saving them from not just physically, but just, mentally and emotionally in their world. I want to thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So any final words before we go?
The final words that I can say is that we continue praying and we continue supporting those girls who need the support. And also for people who think that this is an old thing, it's old, but it's still going on. But we can change something. Things can be changed. Like they say that if you educate one girl, you educate the whole community or the world. So if we can educate these women, these girls, and we rescue them, then we can change the world, because we know that the women are the backbone of the nations and of the homes. So yeah, I would like to say thank you so much also, and let everybody else know that we are here and we would like to continue praying with them, because we have seen great change in our communities.
Absolutely. Well, it's been such a pleasure having you here, and we will definitely put in the links. So for those of our listeners out there who, this is calling to your heart, to be able to help these young girls to get their education, to help them make their own decisions, and to have some support in what Rose is doing, then please make sure you click on those links, whether you want to contribute, have prayers, be of some service in this area. We encourage you to do that. And we thank you so much for listening. Please share this. This is something that people don't talk about very much. It's a very kind of secretive thing in a lot of ways. People don't realize the extent of how this is impacting. If this is happening to just one girl, it affects all the girls, right? Mentally, how you see this in the world. So it's important for people to hear this and to get this message out. If you have any questions about it, please put it in the comments. We're happy, to tag both myself and Rose. We're happy to answer any questions with this. So please get the word out there. Start having these type of conversations so they're not in the shadows. We're bringing them into the light, and we're giving it to God. So thank you so much. And until we connect again, live your spa life. Bye for now.
Bye.